Now, this guy, I got to admit, I love his hair. The gray afro is definitely a look, but let's hear what he had to say about voter ID laws.
Okay, so like what?
Well, we could eliminate all voter registration laws. See, when Democrats get in charge, we try to protect voting rights. We don't make voting easier. Now, I'm all for voter eligibility requirements. We might disagree about what those requirements should be, but I'm going to say that there should be an age limit to vote. I might say 16, you might say 18, but I'm not going to say 8. Right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to agree that there should be voter eligibility requirements. But once you're eligible, why do you...
Oh, look who else is there. Oh, the
That's
OG.
never a good sign.
Yeah.
When Al Sharpton shows up.
Yeah.
You have to pre-register. Why is that even a thing? It wasn't a thing in this country at the founding. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821.
Well, we also didn't have 100 million illegals coming over our border and getting dropped into red states.
Or nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Also, I thought you didn't like that period of history. Like, not to be blunt about it here, but you're pretty critical most of the time of America at the founding.
Yeah, I'll turn it down. That's a rare time people said the clip is too loud. I'll continue.
We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is?
Oh my God.
You're literally echoing Razor Fist at that point.
Yeah.
With
the Lincoln video.
Yeah.
African slaves were migrating up north, and all of a sudden New York was like, we need some registration up in here, right? A bunch of immigrants from Europe, mainly Ireland and Italy, were coming to New York. People were like, oh, we need some registration in here. If you're eligible to vote.
By the way, nobody's worried about the black vote. What I'm worried about is Joe Biden airdropping 20,000 illegals into Whitewater, Wisconsin to help fortify a purple state. That's why we have voter ID laws. I'll go to Hannah Claire first and get your take on this. Hannah Claire, what do you think? What do you think of this guy? I don't know. He's he kind of looks like the Nutty Professor. I don't really know. I don't know. He looks like a fat version of somebody else, but I don't know who that person is.
I mean, great hair, bad take, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate the dedication to an aesthetic, but I obviously think that it's a lie to say Democrats care about voting rights, and therefore we want to make it possible for someone who doesn't have the right to vote here to qualify to vote by some loophole. That's kind of what he's arguing, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. He's saying that we're the more thoughtful party, but actually, if you cared about voting rights, you wouldn't mind there being voter ID laws. If you are able to vote in the country, if we can verify it at the poll, that's safer for everyone. That protects people's rights to vote.
Yeah. What do you think, Styx?
I think it's become absurd at this point. This particular argument doesn't even need to be had, because the liberals are effectively saying that people who aren't white males are too stupid or too poor to get a voter ID, to get some form of identification that would allow them to vote. It's like you can use your driver's license, there's state IDs, etc. But everyone has those. 99.9% of the population already has them. So it's pretty self-evident. I mean, I don't understand what the actual problem is, actually. It's like they're artificially making a problem out of nothing because they think they can grandstand on it. But the public has rejected them. And so at some point it becomes self-deprecation.
Yeah,
and
well, I
this
think
dude does look like the Nutty Professor. Yeah.
He's like he looks like he'd be in some back alley trying to sell me some black market flubber. But
hey,
like,
man,
I think, I think it's pretty simple. I think that Democrats don't want voter ID laws because they would lose every election. Mm-hmm. I think that's the sole reason. They're for open borders. They're for paying these people all this money. They're for busing them in to vote. That's what I believe. I believe it's much more nefarious than kind of this odd, it's not about civil rights. They want you to think it's about civil rights, but it's about buying elections by importing brown people. It's not about, Americans don't give a crap about blacks voting. In fact, the black voting bloc is getting more Republican every year.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we care about Biden airdropping in 6 million, 7 million votes into the Rust Belt because that's what they did. I mean, they weren't putting these people in California. They were putting them in, red states or states that they thought they could flip.
Mhm.
I reject this reality and insert the real one, that this is just about buying votes and well, really human trafficking for votes. That's all this is about.
Yeah, look at the border statistics, and that 1/3 of kids, unaccompanied minors at least, that showed up there are unaccounted for.
Missing, right?
Where
are they, you think, Styx?
where do people think that they are? Let's see.
I'm going to say they're in the
Well-
basements of demonic pedophiles in Hollywood because this is a
Yeah.
Rumble exclusive stream.
But
Yeah.
if you bring this up, they're like, wow, you don't want kids to have the American dream. You don't want them to have the opportunity. Like, they totally skip over what the danger is or why people would be concerned. Both of these issues are redirected to being like, we are the more compassionate point of view. And if you believe in compassion, if you believe in helping other people, if you believe in whatever opportunities, then you would side this way, surely. And it's just a lie. It's not true at all. You can't tell me that you're okay with children being trafficked for the dream or whatever and tell me that you're the morally superior party.
Yeah, people are being literally enslaved, but that's justified because, bring us your humble, you're tired and poor and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot
Bring
of
them
those,
to us and we'll sell them to people.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
We'll sell them to Livia.
They
We
get their
made
little-
$200 off this kid. Hey, that was a pretty good deal.
they get their little babies. This is my king cake baby. I found the king cake baby, and my wife and I have created a game where we keep hiding it on each other, and it was underneath my microphone today. But it's like, yeah, all these kids are dead, or they're in sex trafficking rings, or what else?
Sweatshops. If
right,
they're
where else
lucky,
are
they're in a sweatshop just being worked to death.
Right. They're making Nikes. They're making some, that's the reality that the left doesn't want you to look at. They're like, oh, they're fleeing their war-torn countries. Or are they making Nikes and all this other stuff? And there's all sorts of these non-discriminate manufacturing facilities on the border. I wonder how many of them are, they have 15-year-old kids working there, 14-year-old kids working there.
Right. There was a bunch of stories, I'm going to say over a year ago at this point, of meat packing plants that were found to be employing minors. But the other part that they won't tell you in the headline is that they tend to be undocumented. They're here illegally. They're either brought over by their parents or they are, themselves people who have entered the country illegally looking for work. And they're then exploited by big corporations. And in return, we're not supposed to talk about that, but we are supposed to talk about child labor. Like, if you close the border, it would be harder to employ these children.
Right.
And the one corporate leader that apparently is not engaging in this behavior, he's Hitler.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All of the others, as long as they're exploiting teenagers, that's perfectly fine. But if somebody comes out in against the immigration policy, all of a sudden they're the fascist.
Right.
I think that we're not the only people who have noticed this.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. I mean, the idea that this is a civil rights issue is bananas. It's about winning elections. The Democrats don't actually give a crap about these illegals. I'm sorry, political refugees or whatever they want you to think. They know damn well it is exclusively about winning elections and, and flooding these states with votes. I'm going to get caught up a little bit on some viewer comments. We're going to be rating Viva Fry, by the way, after the show when we're done in about 30 minutes. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really happy to see so many people here today. And I'm going to unleash the giveaway in this segment too. We're close enough.
You wore them down, guys.
I'm not going to pick any winners until we get to 300,000. Again, we're giving away $75 Amazon gift cards. I'm giving away like PlayStation, video game consoles, a gaming computer for Meta PCs. By the way, if you're in the market for a computer, Meta PCs is the only computer I use. And if you use promo code Rumble, you'll save on them. It's the only computer I use. It's the one I recommend to friends and family. And they gave me this computer to give away to for people to follow. So we're 3,000 followers away. You know, I'm not going to pick a winner till we get there, but I'm going to let people start entering now.